Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for finding the time to be here and have a talk with me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be talking with you and to be sharing about dyslexia awareness.
You're doing so well on your page. I love it. It's learn_dyslexia. It's
Yes.
amazing, so informative. There's so much going on there, and honestly, I'm benefiting so much from it.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that somebody's enjoying it, and it's been an incredible community that's actually built really fast. It's going to be 6 months on January 23rd of 2021. So for 6 months, it's actually grown really fast, and I love the community on Instagram and on Twitter for dyslexia. So I'm so lucky to be a part of it.
I'm so glad you made it because it is amazing and there are so many people following you and so many like I'm learning so much from it. Your posts and everything that you're doing on it, I'm learning a lot, truly.
Thank you so much. I love your posts too. I mean, I always share them. I have to share them. I think they have incredible information. So it's all part of that dyslexia community.
For sure. So I wanted to connect with you and basically just get to know you and see everything that you're about and what you're doing. So can you just briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Sarah Sigmon, and I'm from Illinois here in the United States of America. Right now, I'm 21 years old, and I'm a senior at my university, graduating here in the May, which is absolutely crazy. I can't believe 4 years have gone by so fast. So, right now, I'm a full time student, and I'm going to look to transition either to obtaining my master's degree, hopefully. I'll find out about that soon, or transitioning into a career path for myself. Kind of depends on what I find out about my master's degree. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm started this dyslexia awareness account kind of because everybody was at home and I wasn't able to do the same things I would typically do when I was dealing with people and talking to my peers, especially at a university. So I thought, why not just start something on social media and kind of put my skills I've been learning through my advertising major at university to use on social media.
Yeah, no, wow, that's great.
Thank you.
Like, when did you find out you were dyslexic?
I found out I was dyslexic pretty much since the very first day I can remember, honestly. That was my parents who figured it out. And I feel really lucky. Growing up, I always knew that I was dyslexic. There was never something where it was like a sudden discovery. So for me, that was such a huge help because so many people don't know they are dyslexic. And when they do find out, they're either an adult or really far into the education system. And that can be really difficult. But my parents figured that out, and as far back as I can remember, I just knew I was dyslexic. So that was so beneficial to me as a student and as a person, honestly.
Mhm. Wow, incredible. So your parents, who really who found out about it? Was it your parents that found out about your dyslexia?
Yes, yeah, it was I think mainly my mom noticed it more than my dad, but they both knew about dyslexia, thank goodness. And when they saw the kind of different signs that I was saying different words, like spaghetti was biscotti and tenchable was tenchable, and I would flip these lowercase letters and do all these things and misspell words, and I was never very good at spelling, honestly. Even now, when I have to write on a sticky note, if there's no autocorrect, I get nervous. So,
It's hard.
but
Well, that's what dyslexia does to you, really.
oh yeah, that's one of those lifelong things. But my parents were great. They were able to really figure out this is what she has, and they did it at an early age. I have no idea, like when they really noticed it in me. I would say really early, probably before I started any kind of schooling. Um, but that it was all due to them and their awareness of dyslexia.
Amazing. It's so important to have parents that really understand dyslexia and that are there for you and support you. Like
Oh,
it
absolutely.
makes a huge difference. Huge,
Oh,
especially in
yeah.
your education.
Oh, yeah, and I think it even helps in your self-esteem a lot because if your parents are aware and they know about it, they can really help boost you as a student from an early age especially to say, "Well, it's just because of this that you're struggling with spelling," or you can't remember if a lowercase b or d's a certain way, you know what I mean? I think that helps so much with your confidence as a student, and I feel so lucky that they were able to be there for me.
That's great. That's so good to have such a strong support system. Very lucky.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
What type of activities or kind of learning support were they giving you? Was it your parents who were mostly there for you in terms of like your education?
Yes, but it's funny because 'cause I'm from a small town, so we have very small schools anyway, but my parents were super hands-on with my education. They would do things at home with me to work with the different subjects. So, spelling, my dad helped me out so much with that, and my mom devised this system where she'd put up, like, little flashcards around the house, and it would be just different words that I might be learning that week, or even at the before I started learning to spell, it would be the different lowercase letters that I was struggling to remember which way did it go. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that really helped me so much just kind of subconsciously absorb things going throughout my normal day. And then my mom also found these really cool counting bears, and they were colorful, and I loved them. And I actually wanted to play with them more than use them for math. But they helped me really visualize kind of what I was doing with the numbers.
Mhm.
And instead of using my fingers to count or just being like, I have no idea, I can't remember what we're doing, I had these counting bears where I could line up and say, okay, 4 times 4 is this. And that made such a huge difference to me because it was visual, it was physical, and it was kind of that multi-sensory learning that I had no idea what it was, but my mom was doing it kind of, I don't know if she knew what it was, but she did it kind of instinctively as a mother. She knew that's what I needed.
Yeah.
So those counting bears and those flashcards, those were the little things that helped kind of guide my direction as a student that my parents really helped me with at home.
Wow, that's incredible. So like they had special ways of basically helping you learn and they had like their own activities and their own techniques that worked for you.
Yes, absolutely. And they were just always there to help me with any questions I had to. And that made a huge world of difference because anytime I felt like I didn't understand what my peers understood, you feel like you're not smart or you're just not good enough educationally. And they were always there to answer questions or to help me kind of figure out where I need to improve and how to get there to that improvement level. So, it was those little things that really made such a big difference in my education to the point where now I'm about to graduate from college. I
Wow.
don't think I probably would have ever been able to get there if it wasn't for the assistance of my parents because it's just kind of difficult when you don't know how to kind of overcome some of the struggles on your own, especially as a young student.
Yeah, of course. No, it's definitely hard growing up and feeling, sadly people link dyslexia with laziness or stupidity or just not trying hard enough. And it's so
Yeah.
sad because it really does affect you as a person. So if you don't have your parents there to really boost your confidence and keep you motivated and to tell you how proud they are of you, it's definitely gonna affect you for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that dyslexia awareness is good for and should focus on, you know? We got to have parents who know what dyslexia is in order to help recognize it in their student or students and to be able to help kind of assure them that you are going to be successful, you are smart, you just need to learn differently.
Yeah. Um, Amazing. So, you mentioned you're from a small town. So, how was your education then? Were people
Yeah.
aware of dyslexia? Were there resources, special classes, for example?
Being from a small town, there really isn't like a ton of resources. There are some in bigger surrounding towns that are a little bit ways from us, but there was no like special dyslexia class. We did have a little bit of a special education program, but I was never placed in it. Mostly it was just my parents that helped me. And once again, it goes back to having great parent support. But I think being from a small town and not having that extra support system, you really need to have that outside independent dyslexia awareness that comes from whether it's a parent or guardian or even a friend. If I had a friend in middle school or high school who would have known about dyslexia, then and I hadn't already known about it, that would have been a huge help for me. But luckily, I did already know about it. I just think that for a small town, you don't have that expansive education kind of apparatus where there's tons of funds going towards it, or that they think they might necessarily need something like that. You know, 1 in 5 students are dyslexic, but my school wasn't that large. So it wasn't one of those things where they thought that they would need those extra programs or extra classes or even the tools that they use today for some specific dyslexia awareness or dyslexic classes.
Did you know other people in your school or in your class that were or that have dyslexia, I mean?
Not really. I didn't talk about it a lot for me. Personally, it wasn't until I got to university that I really started being more aware of it. I think for me, I thought it was just kind of part of who I was, and it didn't really make a huge impact in my life as a young student, and mostly probably because I did have the outside support system from my parents. So it was nothing I really felt like I needed to kind of talk about. I kind of kept it really private. But then once I got to university, that was such a huge difference for me. I went from being in a small school at a small town, and my parents were always there and they could help me out with different subjects where I needed help with. And then at university, it's this big institution and the system that's been there for years and years and years. And there's no kind of molding it to how you learn, really. It's you have to fit into this system. Good luck. Hope you can make it. Here are some tools if you need some assistance. And there you go. And as a freshman, I was so scared. Not only did I come from a small town where I just was like, okay, this is not the cornfields that I'm used to, but I also had to figure out how to learn with my dyslexia in a system that was not conducive to adjustments or anything like that. And that's when I really started talking to my peers about my dyslexia. And I found out, in the larger body of peers and students, that there are way more dyslexics than I ever imagined. Way more. I never thought that dyslexia was so prevalent, but it really is. It's 1 in 5 students, which is crazy to think about. And we don't even talk about it in society at all, at least not enough, or in education, really. So for me, it was talking to those fellow students, finding out that I'm not alone and I'm not the only one struggling, and that there are other resources outside of just talking to your parents or something like that, and kind of using those resources to really make my time at college and at university so much better.
Yeah. Wow, I mean, I can really relate to what you're saying because I went from being in a school where no one knew what dyslexia was and I didn't have anyone to kind of relate to about dyslexia. And then when I moved schools, I met so many other students who have dyslexia and we were all put in this like extra class and we were all supporting one another. It really makes a huge difference when you have someone who understands what you're going through and has the same like difficulties that you have. It makes you feel more comfortable about yourself and that you're not alone and that this is completely okay, like you're not that different, you just have something that other people also have, but it makes you unique in your own way.
Oh, absolutely. It makes such a world of difference, I think, in feeling like you have a place in society and that you have more to give. I thought when I was, a freshman and struggling and didn't really know my place in the world or society, I didn't know how much I had to offer to everybody in greater society. I thought, oh, well, I'm just kind of struggling. I'm plodding along here. And then once you find out that you're really not alone and that there are so many incredible, successful, creative minds who are dyslexic, it's really inspiring. But more than that, it makes you feel like you have a greater purpose. And to me, that was just such groundbreaking stuff, something I hadn't experienced yet. Even after my parents had helped support me, you feel like you have to kind of come to that realization on your own. And at college, finally finding other dyslexic students and speaking with them, that's where it happened for me.
Wow, that's great. I'm so glad like you had that transition. You
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. So you spoke briefly that you were from a small town and now you're in university and college, and it seems like there's a huge difference in both, and clearly you had a huge transition. If you could compare it, basically, what would you say are like the main things that are different from a small town and university where there's such a bigger community for dyslexics?
That's a really great question. I think for a small town, you do have the ability to kind of adapt the education system a little bit more because there are smaller class sizes. There's more one-on-one compatibility, I think, and also probably time. There's more time that you can spend with people and faculty. But when you're transitioning to a larger school and or a college or university, um, there isn't that adaptability, but there are outside additional resources. It's just about kind of seeking those out that's kind of difficult sometimes. I know as a freshman, I did not know where to start. If I wanted assistance, I didn't know where to start at all. And sometimes it's as simple as going up and speaking to a professor or finding one of your dyslexic peers or somebody who knows somebody who's dyslexic and saying, "Hey, I'm struggling in this class. What can I do?" So I think at a university or a larger school, there's less adaptability with the classes and honestly with some of the faculty and stuff. But I think you really make up with all of that when you go seek out additional resources. But it's about finding those resources that can sometimes be difficult, especially if they're not there. And then in a small town, I definitely think you have that one-on-one compatibility, especially with like teachers that you've known your whole life or have known you your whole life. And you can really have that one-on-one time to think about how I can improve, what areas am I struggling with, and all of that, and how can I kind of get myself to the point where I'm college ready. And all of that is so different, but it kind of also makes sense in a flow if you think about it. You know, you have a small town and more time and ability to really talk to people, but then you transition to college and you might not have as much time to talk to people, but you have all these greater resources that are kind of like arms of a tree where they branch out. So
Wow. Yeah, no, it's a huge difference. Like both are just completely different in so many things, but it's great that you got to experience both, you know? It doesn't happen
yes.
often. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so lucky that I got to experience both. I think that gives me such a good perspective on kind of the strengths and weaknesses that we have here in American society for dyslexia awareness and dyslexic education.
Yeah. Incredible. Wow. So, you spoke briefly about your page at the beginning. So
Yeah.
I want to know what really motivated you to start your page.
Oh, I love that question because I'm excited about this page. I honestly I never thought it would kind of grow. I thought it would be just something that I kind of posted on and of course people might follow it, but definitely not to the extent it's at right now.
Yeah.
I started this page back in July of 2020 because everybody was at home due to COVID-19 and we were observing the stay-at-home rules. And typically, I like to be on campus and talking to my peers. And I work in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at my university. So I deal with a lot of prospective and freshman students. And typically, with them, I can talk to them. And if they are dyslexic, that usually comes out in a conversation. And then I can talk to them and kind of act as a mentor. And there's other kind of organizations in the community around my university that I was able to help fundraise for and all that. But then suddenly it was gone in 2020. And I had no idea what I could do to really get involved with dyslexia awareness outside of just sitting around and waiting for it all to be over. And I didn't want to do that. So I thought, well, as an advertising student, that's my major. Um, I thought, how can I use my skills with social media and media in general to hopefully kind of bring dyslexia awareness to a whole new realm I hadn't worked on yet. And suddenly I thought, well, let's just start the social media. It sounds like a great opportunity. So I started the Instagram and the Twitter and I created some content for it. I chose the light bulb as my kind of logo because Thomas Edison was a dyslexic. And to me, the light bulb always signifies like an idea or a thought and just pops above your head. And I thought, well, that's perfect because dyslexics are so creative and they are so thoughtful. And really, we need to show the world that dyslexics have so much to give and so much to offer. Honestly, the world would look so different without dyslexic inventions. They are almost everything. We have our light bulbs, our computers, all of it. So I think just starting the social media and kind of getting the word about dyslexia out there was really my motivation. But then as I've seen it grow, it's incredible the community that we have these conversations in the comments, and these people are tagging me in their posts because they're interested in sharing their stories. Like I had a student that tagged me in one of her posts, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and this girl had achieved something in her class and she achieved high grades. And I thought to myself, that's incredible. And they tagged me in the post. And of course, I shared. I had to. I was so proud and so excited for her. And she's this dyslexic student. She's done something she didn't think she could do. But the fact that she's sharing that on social media and is excited about it, feels like she should share it and tag me in the post. That, I don't know, it just puts a smile on my face because it's so encouraging to see other people being encouraged. I just love it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, see, your page is making a difference already. Like people feel the need to like reach out to you and show you all their progress. See, it's really changing. Like you're raising so much awareness about dyslexia and people are like they see it, like it's making a
Yeah.
difference.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind.
I know when we spoke briefly, you mentioned that you also used your page for one of your projects in university, right?
Yes, I did. Came along just at the right time.
Yeah, no, perfect timing. Can you tell me a bit more about that? Like, how did you use it?
Well, I mentioned before, I'm a media student, so that requires a lot of advertising classes and things like that. And as part of one of my advertising classes this past fall semester, I had to do a project raising awareness around a social issue. And I thought to myself, well, this was perfect timing because I had just started this Instagram and Twitter account. And I thought, this is definitely a social issue. This is a need. This is something that I don't think anybody else in the class will probably actually end up doing. And they didn't. And I was the only one that did dyslexia. So I used this account and my knowledge and branding and all of it to kind of craft a campaign for my paper and give examples and do all that. And the most amazing part was really the fact that my professor, her son is actually a dyslexic too. So it hit home for her and it made such a difference, I think, in maybe my passion towards the project, even, doing that project for the class. I mean, it made me excited to do it well and to make it so it hopefully helped her or gave her some inspiration to further help her own student. And it was just really cool. It was such a great connection to have a professor to also understand the struggles of what it's like to have dyslexia. And I think it's little things like that about speaking about it that really makes a huge difference. And you wouldn't think it would, just when you're thinking about it in your mind. But when you're going through the process and kind of building a relationship, I think it makes a huge difference, that openness and that willingness to share your own experience.
Definitely. Wow, that's insane. I mean, it's such a small world. Like there you are just, presenting your project and your page, and then you find out that your professor's son has dyslexia as well.
I know, I couldn't believe it, but it was so exciting because I thought to myself, what a better opportunity to have this just happen to come along for this class. And then the professor, her son is dyslexic too. It was incredible. It was fate.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm pretty sure she learned a lot from your presentation as well. I'm sure.
Thank you. I hope so.
Okay, amazing. So, you're now in university and you're almost done, right?
Yes, I'll be graduating May 2021. It's almost here.
Amazing. Almost there, yes. So, what are your plans maybe after uni?
I hope to get my master's. I'll be finding out about that, I think in late February, early March. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. I didn't ever think I'd want to get my master's, but I want to get it in human resources because through kind of my experience at university and even with this dyslexia, I've really learned that you have to put people in the right positions to succeed. And so much of human resources deals with interviewing people and making sure they have the right skill set and training them and hopefully helping them to be to the place where they need to be in order to improve, your organization, your company, business overall, and building a team, really. That's what it is, having all these different parts and building a team. I love all that. I'm very much a people person. I love to talk. I love to interview people. And more than anything, I like to see people succeed. So hopefully, human resources will be the career path that I can go down. And hopefully, this master's will help me. But I can definitely say that if it wasn't for my time these past 4 years and really growing and who I was and who I am now, and with my dyslexia, growing with my my education, I don't think I'd probably be pursuing my master's. I probably would have just said my bachelor's degree is good enough. I don't want to do any more education because I didn't feel smart. But luckily now I've really grown with my dyslexia and I feel like I can really do anything I set my mind to. So a master's degree it is, hopefully for human resources. And if I don't get accepted that program, I plan to reapply in the future and just try to go get a job or something like that.
Yeah. Wow, I'm inspired by your motivation to keep going and your confidence. I mean, we need more of this. We need other people who are dyslexic to know that if you want something, just keep going for it until you achieve it. Like you can do
Absolutely.
anything.
Absolutely. I'm a huge believer that you put in the hard work and really if it's meant to be, it'll be yours. But never give up. The best thing you can do is put in the hard work and the dedication and then you'll know you gave it your all. And that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, that's so true. I fully agree with you. Wow. So, what do you think is like the main thing that really helped you overcome your dyslexia?
Oh,
It's
that's
a
a
hard
really
question.
great
I
question.
know.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I feel yeah, that's a difficult one. I feel so blessed to have had so many great different parts in my dyslexia journey so far, like my parents knowing and having the ability to be flexible in my education and kind of figuring things out a little bit and getting a hold and handle on my dyslexia in college. But I think the number one ingredient was really me finally acknowledging it.
Yeah.
I spent so many years, like in middle school and high school, knowing about it, working towards trying to overcome it in the different areas where I needed to. But there was never a moment I sat back and I was like, okay, I'm a dyslexic. Let's look into this. I never said that until I got to college. And I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't. But it made such a big difference for me as a person, really, in growing in confidence, growing in my understanding of who I am and why I do the things that I do, even outside of the education system. Like, here's a good example. I printed something out, had multiple pages. I went to go staple the pages, and instead of stapling it on the traditional left side in the upper corner of the pages, I stapled it on the right.
Yeah.
And, that's not the right thing to do, but it felt right to me. I was like, this seems about right. It's those little things and figuring out why you do the things that you do. That I think just finally acknowledging your dyslexia and trying to actively learn about it, it made such a huge difference to me. And that was such a pivotal moment in my education and in my life, really.
Yeah. I fully agree. I mean, I think the first step to really achieving your goals and just going for what you want is definitely accepting your dyslexia. I mean, that is for sure the first step.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I think after that, all of it just kind of falls into place if you work towards that. If you find out you're dyslexic and you kind of live in denial, that's not going to help you overall. But I think once you finally pursue trying to figure out what dyslexia is and how you can work with that and grow in it, I think it just makes a world of difference.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. Personally, I mean, when I accepted my dyslexia and I got the extra classes and the extra support, this really made a difference in my life. I mean, I my eyes were open to a whole new world. I had so much, like so many resources was given to me. There were online games that were very beneficial, flashcards like with you, sticky notes, the same things that your parents used to do with you. I had a very similar experience, and these were the things that really made a difference in my education. For
Yes, absolutely. It is like a whole new world. That's like the perfect way to put it.
sure. True. Wow. I mean, your story is amazing and your page is so inspiring. And I just keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and keep sharing your story. It is incredible.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything. You're so supportive towards me, and I'm so thankful for this dyslexia community because they're so helpful to with each other, and they've really not only grown, I feel like in the past 6 months, but they've really been so accepting of everything. You know, they understand and they share, and I love that. So thank you so much for being there with me and being on this journey. I love your page, so of course I enjoy all your content and all the tips. Those videos are probably my favorite.
Thank you. Thank you. I
But
mean, it's an
I
equal
appreciate
support.
I appreciate you always being there and being such a great support for me in this dyslexia journey.
Thank you. I mean, we're here just to support each other and to raise awareness together. We have the same goal. I mean, let's just keep it going, basically.
Absolutely. And no better way to do that internationally is through social media and the World Wide Web.
For sure, for sure. Is there anything maybe you'd like to tell our viewers, like one tip for dyslexics?
Oh man, I think believe in yourself.
Yeah.
That has to be my number one tip. And as difficult as that is probably the most difficult step in your dyslexic journey, honestly. But outside of finding out that you have dyslexia, believing in yourself, it's going to make a world of difference because even if you don't have resources that you should or need in education, even if nobody else believes in you, you believe in yourself, and that alone will create the passion you need to become better in your education and better in life. It will help you grow. So it's difficult, but believe in yourself and don't give up on yourself.
Yeah, never give up. I fully agree. Amazing. Thank you. So, to
Thank
everyone who is watching this video, go follow Sarah's page, learn_dyslexia. I will put it down below. She shares amazing, amazing content, other people's tips, other people's posts, and you have your own posts, incredible. And you're always posting influential dyslexics as well. So, a lot of people, celebrities, and famous people who all have dyslexia and everything they have accomplished, and really just keep them coming because I am learning so much from your page and I love it.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that I got to talk to you and I love your page too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and the best of luck with your studies and your masters. You're gonna make it. I am
Thank,
positive.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, well, let's do this again. I would love to have another talk with you, and yeah, thank you so much for today.
I love that. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, bye, Sarah.
Bye.